Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Muhammad Raid bin Muhammad Rahim. Network number 2014367. I'm going to represent my group with brother Muhammad Faiz and Muhammad Taufik. So this is our project. Our project is based on a short clip from a YouTube discussing on a system of a pick and place using three actuator that as you can see gonna pick a block and move it to another line. Right. So this is what our view is based on, as you can see here. So that's the gist idea. So from this, what we can get or what we conclude that there are three actuators. And from these three actuators, the question is how we gonna move the actuators in sequence and loop it this routine. So firstly, we need to discuss the input and output of the systems. As you can see here, I have written the sequence in the form of binary, as 0 is the current conditions of the actuator when it's retract, and 1 the current condition the condition of the actuator when it's extract or expands. And then for each actuator we have two solenoids and two limit switches, which is at the beginning of the solenoid, at the beginning of the actuator and at the end of the actuator. So y1 for the first solenoids for one actuator, both of these solenoids are gonna trigger the states, determine the states of the actuator, or trigger between state 1 and state 2. As you can see here, I have written the code or the binary 001, 011, 010, and so on, based on the sequence that we get from the previous video. What I find, or based on our findings, that each of these sequence or each of these states are unique to each other and form an X sequence of binary, albeit it is not in the normal sequence like 0 like 0101. This is considered, but yeah, you can say it's 00 here and start at 100. So it's not that like 1 2 3 4 5 sequence. From there we can derive the state of the switches, the state of the current limit switches, and from there we use that to trigger the solenoid, to trigger the next solenoids for the next stage. For example here we have 001. We use this condition of the limit switches to trigger y2, which is the second actuator solenoid, to trigger it from 0 to 1. And so that is the basics idea. And then this here is our circuits. As you can see, we are using a 5/4 solenoid valve, and then we for this system we use two ladder diagram. Why we use two ladder diagram? Because the first ladder diagram is for the switches, and the switches with its relay. So from the relay, we are gonna use it into the second ladder diagram as a conditions to trigger the solenoids. Alright. Okay. This is the basic is quite simple actually, if you get the basics. Also for safety features, and the start input, another 4 input. We add another 4 input. First one is the push button one to start the machine or the systems. The second one is the sleep sensor or sleep sensor, in case when you are picking the or grabbing a block, in the case of movement, if the box slips from the claw, then the machine will stop immediately. So that's another one safety features. In case only when the block is picking, or only when the block is picking or is grabbing the block. If it's not grabbing the blocks, then it will not trigger the sleep sensor. And another one is the emergency push buttons. In case there's a malfunctions or emergency, we just push this button. Yeah, it will really cut off the power source from the second ladder. And then another one is the reset button. So the reset button, we use it to reset the sequence to reset the cycle to the first sequence. So let's see these circuits in actions. First, the first sequence, as you can see, the first actuator is retract, second actuator retract, and the third actuator is open, or it's extract, because it's ready to pick up the first block. So there we use the push button, and then okay, as you can see, it's a action, and then it pick up the block, release the block back to the first position. Okay, so we use the reset button, as you can see here. It will stop at the first sequence of the current cycle, or of the next cycle. I'm sorry. So we restart again the systems. So in case let's say is currently grabbing the block, then we use the block slips. There's a process I need to click manually. In case the block slips, so the systems it immediately stops, because there's a block dropping. Okay, next one, we need to reset back the system to the first sequence. Okay, we run again, and it gets a malfunction. We use the emergency push button to immediately halt all activities of the system. Right, we use the reset push button again. Right, I think that's the gist of it. That's all from me. I'm Muhammad Rahim. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.